Let's face it, creating content like a really fleshed out blog post or a podcast episode or YouTube videos, it takes a lot of time and effort. You want that content to be really good after all, so you put your all in it. But what do you do then? What do you do after you click publish? I'd love to know what your promotion strategy for content typically looks like right now. Because if you're anything like me, this is what I used to do. You publish a post, share it on Facebook and Instagram, maybe talk about it in your Instagram stories once. On a good week, you'll tell your email list about it. And then you get back on the content hamster wheel and start creating next week's content. Right? So this is what I've been doing for years. If this is what you've been doing until now as well, chances are your content is not reaching nearly its potential for impact. So let's look at what to do instead. Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Reiche, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started. You know, I just said that this is what I've used to do as well. And I didn't really think about it until my business coach said something that made me think, that made me listen, right? So she asked, are you creating new content for the same 1,000 people on your list all the time instead of trying to get your best content in front of new eyes? And I was like, oh my God. That's 100% me. And this approach, it got me to where I am today, but it also stopped me from really growing and reaching a much wider audience. What I realized is that this is a mindset issue, and it's actually quite common. I know I'm not alone with this. You too might shy away from promoting your content to a wider audience and instead create new content all the time for the same people already following you. The thing is, creating new content, it's normally what we are comfortable with because this is what we do, what we trained in. This is our expertise that we are sharing with the world. This is our comfort zone. But promoting this content, that's a different story. First, you probably didn't train in that, just as selling or marketing. This is something we need to learn. But also, it might make you feel vulnerable and like you're inviting people to judge you and your content. This is outside of our comfort zone. And believe me, I'm right there with you. What helped me is first becoming aware of this bigger issue and telling myself that nothing bad is going to happen, but also following a plan to promote my content in a bigger way so that it can make a bigger impact. Want this? I got it for you. Here are 5 ways to promote your blog post for a bigger impact. Oh, and by the way, I talk about blog posts, but it could also be a YouTube video or a podcast episode. It doesn't have to be written content only. You should create a blog post either way, and then you embed the video or podcast audio on that page so people can watch or listen and they get a description what it is about. This way, your best content lives on your website, in your blog. It's an additional source for Google to direct traffic your way. And it's much easier to direct people to your paid offers because they are already in your world. So it doesn't matter what content format you are creating. It can be video, it can be a podcast, it can be written content. Publish a blog post for it always. Okay, and now let's talk about promoting that post. The first way to promote your post is to share your post on your Facebook page. So you can share the link to your blog post on Facebook that brings people straight to the blog post when they click on the image, or you can share a text with an image and add the link to the text. Here people need to click the link in the text. Option 1 is easier to share and has a higher click-through rate, but probably less people will see your post because of the algorithm. Basically, Facebook doesn't really want people to leave the app. They want people to stay scrolling through their feed because that way they can show more ads and more content, and that's how they make their money. So sharing a text with an image works a little bit better, but it's a little bit of extra work because you need to have an image to share, and it's just not as easy to set up. I have to say, I've pretty much given up on worrying about getting results on Facebook because really today, such a tiny percentage of my followers actually sees my posts here. So I keep it simple and I just post a link to the blog post once and then I don't think about it anymore. So I'm focusing my efforts on Instagram and Pinterest, and that works for me. But it might be different for you, and that's fine, right? When your audience is still really hanging out on Facebook, you might want to focus on this platform and spend a little bit more time creating content that gets better results on that platform. So that might be a video or a live where you talk about that blog post, for example. Okay, but let's say you want to share just the link to the blog post on Facebook. Depending on your website builder and theme, you can set up a text and upload an image that will be shared with the link. So in WordPress, you can, for example, control the text with the WordPress Yoast SEO plugin and upload an image as a featured image, and that will be shown in the preview for your link, for the URL that you share, for example, on Facebook. But sometimes Facebook shows an outdated version or no image, and you can see this in the preview before you share your link. If this is the case, don't click share, but close that preview and open the Facebook sharing debugger. So this is a nifty little tool. To find it, Google Facebook sharing debugger or click the link in the show notes. We'll add it there. And here you can enter the URL for your blog post and the tool will show you what the Facebook crawler found to share. When you updated this in your website settings, you can use the debugger to tell Facebook to crawl the page again and find the updated text and image. And when that looks good, you can go back to your Facebook page, reload it, and start sharing your post again. I hope this tip is helpful. Not a lot of people know about this, but I've used this quite a few times and it works great. Okay, the second way to share your content is to share it on Instagram. Create an image, video, or a picture gallery for your Instagram post. So for example, in Canva. When you create a video or even better, a reel, you have a much higher chance that people are actually going to see your post and also people who are not following you already. So if you really focus on Instagram, I would say, yes, this is probably some time that you need to spend to create a post that really gets a little bit more action. Next, write a caption based on your blog post and don't forget to add a call to action, since you can't add a direct link in your Instagram caption. So here you can say something like, click the link in my bio to read more or go to xyz.com/blog. Here you want to make sure that it's a URL that's really easy because it's not clickable. So people would have to enter it manually in their browser. So it needs to be really, really short, like //blog or /podcast or something like that. You can post this live in the Instagram app or schedule your post using a tool like Later. This is what I use. They have a free plan that's really great and I like it because I like to prepare my Instagram posts on my MacBook and not on my phone. So for me, that works really well. But there are people that say that Instagram prefers content that's published in the app opposed to using a third-party platform. But I have to say, I didn't see a difference here really. And if there is one, I don't think it's going to make a significant difference. So do whatever works for you, using the app or a third-party tool for scheduling. Just make it as easy as possible for yourself. The third way to share your content is to share your post on Instagram stories. Here, I want you to go live. People need to see your face. So go live in Instagram stories and use your post intro as a script. So this can be short and sweet, maximum 1 minute. Add captions to each story, so each 15-second sequence. A lot of people really prefer not to have the sound on when they're scrolling through Instagram. And with captions, you can still give them a chance to grab what you're talking about. So this is like 4 stories, 15 seconds long, maximum 1 minute, where you talk about your blog post. And after that, the next story is where you share the Instagram post as a story and add the link to your post to the story. So you now can add links to your Instagram stories that link directly to your website. So you don't have to tell people to click the link in the bio from an Instagram story, right? So you can simply add the link in there. Just make sure you add the correct link. So don't just like write it up. Really, it's best to open the browser on your phone and then copy the link and paste it in Instagram in the little add a link feature. Next, share your post in your newsletter. So use your post as the foundation to write your newsletter and share the link to your blog post for people to get the full story. You can also expand the story a little bit, share a few more insights, for example. When your post includes a list, for example, with 5 tips, you can also share the first 1 or 2 tips and tell people to click the link to your website to read the full article. Okay, so these first ways to promote your content are pretty basic. You're probably already doing them, right? The next one is a bit more advanced, but super effective. Share your post on Pinterest. Create 3 to 5 images for your post. So for example, in Canva, that you then upload to Pinterest together with the title, description, and a link to your website. Next, you pin your first pin when you publish your blog post, the second one 1 week later, and the third one 3 weeks later. So you can schedule your pins this way in Pinterest. Pinterest is basically a visual search engine and it can work really well to get more traffic. I actually get most of my website traffic from Google, but Pinterest is my traffic source number 2. And I get more traffic from Pinterest than Facebook and Instagram combined. And I spend a lot less time for that. So if you're not yet using Pinterest, I'd really invite you to try it out, especially if you are already creating content. If you don't have any content to share yet, it doesn't make sense for you. But if you do, it's a really great tool. Okay, so there you have it. 5 ways to promote your blog post to make a bigger impact. And I have one more bonus strategy for you that I normally only share with my students inside the Blissful Biz Incubator, and that is to create a quote graphic. Shareable graphics with a quote are easy to create and still do pretty well on social media. And they're really easy to set up. So pull a quote, line, or piece of data from your post and create a graphic. So for example, in Canva, and you can find tons of templates there for quotes. Use the copy from your blog post around that quote to draft a caption for the post. And as always, don't forget the call to action. And then schedule this post for 2 weeks after you publish your blog post. And this way you can pique curiosity and guide people to your blog post from there. So I hope these strategies inspired you to put a little bit more effort into promoting what you create. Because I know how overwhelming it can be to feel like you have to create new content all the time. I'm actually considering taking a break from this podcast for the next summer months and focus on repurposing my existing content, like go through my old blog posts and podcast episodes and newsletters and see what worked really well, update that and share it again. I strongly believe in consistency, especially when you're just getting started, because it will help you get into a routine and find your voice. But when you've been blogging and creating content for a while, like I have, and you already have a good sized content library, but you don't see any real growth happen, it might make sense to take a break and ease up around content creation a bit, at least until you have a solid plan in place for promoting your work and sharing the content you already have. And if you'd like to learn more advanced strategies to promote your content and get it in front of more people, also over a longer period of time, like make it live for a longer period of time, I'd love to invite you into my program, Blissful Biz Incubator, my high-ticket group coaching program. I just updated the content lessons in the trainings here and how to really grow your audience the most effective way possible. So inside the Blissful Biz Incubator, I teach you how to design your brand, grow your audience, and create and launch digital offers like an online course. What really sets this program apart is that you get a ton of video trainings to help you implement things and take action, but you also get one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and personal feedback and critique for work you submit. If you feel in your heart that this is the program and support you need, send in your application to join the Blissful Biz Incubator today before the price goes up by $1,000 on June 1st. Go to susannereike.com/application and get all the details. And that's it for today. Have a great week and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to susannereike.com right now. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.